going on, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk right here at Unsilenced. It's our first video of 2021 and I'm expecting it to be a big year for me, for you, and just in general. Today's video we're going to be talking about how to find God in the middle of your storm. I don't know about you guys, but for me, this past season of life has been absolutely insane. I know the pandemic is not over, but like I said to my family the other day, I would very much like to be finished living through a pandemic and unprecedented times. Like if we could go ahead and bring back some of those precedented times, that would be fantastic. I've used a few different words to describe this unique time, from a wilderness to a drought to the in-between period. However, right now, the best way to describe it is a storm. I'm not gonna lie, these last few months have been tough personally. From anxiety, self-doubt, worry, and even dealing with COVID, it's been a real struggle. I feel like I'm living in the midst of this raging storm, struggling to stay afloat as the waves roar all around me. As I've been consumed by these waves, it's been really difficult to see where God is. I've been crying out to Him, "Where are you? Don't you see all these bad things happening? When are you gonna come rescue me?" When you're going through tough times, when you're in the middle of that storm, just trying to stay afloat, it's really easy to question God. While I've been reflecting on this season, I was reminded of the story of the disciples on the boat with Jesus in the Gospels, and it's a really cool story. In the story, the disciples were on the boat in the Sea of Galilee with Jesus, and they found themselves in the middle of a really bad storm. As the storm rages on and waves crash into their boat, the disciples start to panic and fear for their lives. They begin to frantically call out for Jesus, who is asleep, of all things, on the boat in the middle of the storm. God is with them in the boat as the storm is raging, and He's just chilling and sleeping, if you can believe that. In the middle of their panic, as they're trying to wake Him up, getting water out of their boat, they begin to frantically call out for Him. They ask Him if He cares about them and plead with Him to do something to save their lives. So He does. He gets up, He calms the storm, and calls them out for their lack of faith. I know there are a few different instances of people crying out to God in the Bible, wondering where He is and why He's not intervening. But for some reason, I particularly felt drawn to this one. And I think it's because a lot of times I feel exactly like the disciples did. I'm in the boat with Jesus. We're sailing along. Sometimes He even lets me steer. And when the waters are calm, everything is great. We're doing this crazy thing called life together, and we communicate, and I feel His presence because we're together. But when the waves get stronger, more threatening, and I begin to fear for my safety, I have a certain expectation that God is going to come in and save the day. I forget that sometimes we're required to go through the storms of life with Him instead of being spared from them. I forget that being close with Him and having a relationship with Him is enough to keep me going. Instead, I panic, I worry, and I begin to lose my faith, much like the disciples did on the boat that day. I lose my faith in who He is, in His goodness, and in His protection. I question His lack of action, when all I really need to do is be patient and have faith in Him. Much like the disciples did, I often have a disconnect between being in the boat with Jesus during the calm and having the faith in Him to intervene in my life when the waves get stormy. Maybe you feel the same way right now. You know that you're in the boat with God and you're in relationship with Him and things are going well. You spend time together, but you're not sure if He's capable of intervening in your life when things go south. It's really easy to be in fellowship with God, to trust in Him and His plan when the waters are smooth. When everything in your life is peachy, you are content to let Jesus sleep in the back of the boat anytime, any day. But when trouble comes your way and He doesn't immediately jump in and save you, you begin to panic. When our faith is weak, it opens the door for fear to enter. The nasty thing about fear is it's hard to get rid of, really hard. It just screams louder and louder and louder until it has your full attention. When fear overtakes our faith, we panic and we begin to question where God is and if He really actually cares about us and our safety. When we can't see or understand God's plan, it's natural for us to doubt Him and seek our own escape plan. It's fight or flight. For the disciples, all they could focus on was the storm. And when they locked into the danger that was surrounding them, they forgot who was in the boat with them. The most important thing to remember, and perhaps the beauty of it all, is that if you are in the boat with God, in relationship with Him, then you don't have to question where He is, because He is with you. A relationship with God does not promise an escape from life's challenges. They're going to come. It's simply a promise that He is going to be walking through life with you. Sure, bad things are going to happen. You or someone you know is going to go through some really tough waters. But we have to get to the point in our relationship with Him where our faith and our trust in His plan is stronger than any storm that we're facing. where we can go into any battle and know that we're gonna be okay because we are in the boat with Him. Jesus is in our boat. Sure, the storm can take us down, but it's not gonna take God down. I know it's easier said than done, but when the storms hit hard, don't focus on the waves crashing all around your boat. Instead, focus on the one who is in the boat with you. Place your focus on God and place your faith in Him and His plan. We know from John 14 that God left His peace with us. Essentially, the peace that Jesus had in Himself on that ship that day is now in us. That fact alone is incredibly mind-blowing. And because of that, we can be in the ship while the storms are raging, while everything is going crazy and life is falling apart, and be peaceful and be asleep. A good God that cares for us is in control even when the storms are threatening. The question is, do you trust the one who is in the boat with you? If not, work on that so the next time you sail through a storm, you can find peace in knowing who is in the boat with you, and you can take a nap in the back too, because God's got it under control. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's episode of Real Talk. I really appreciate it, and I hope it served as an encouragement to you wherever you are in life, whatever your storm may look like. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button and share this video with someone who is currently going through a storm so they too can find peace in the midst of their troubled waters. Remember, God's inaction in the midst of your panic is not indicative of who He is, but a sign that our faith needs to be a little stronger. Thank you again for watching. Make sure you head on over to the Unsilenced Facebook page and give that a big like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, remember, live life unsilenced.